Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another day, another week on Thursday edition of 30 NSG. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about Activision will be, if and when it gets taken over by Microsoft, it will be a limited integration company post-merger, similar to ZeniMax. We're going to be talking about Grand Theft Auto 6 rumors about the map or what they're doing with the game. Again, rumors. And then we're going to watch a video from Dark Microtransaction. We've been watching him since Marvel Future Revolution when it first came out and whatnot. But he does Diablo content. He's got 9 things that the player base needs, like ASAP. Like, why wasn't this in the game from the very start? We're going to go over that as well. And as right before I went live, we're also going to talk about Helldivers 2. Helldivers 2, the first details on Helldivers 2's co-op and combat gameplay. We're going to talk about all that today on this morning show. If you like it, please make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, you can hit the membership button for as little as $5 a month. Helps us out here on the channel. What's going on, Travis? Travis this morning says, as someone who is not a GTA fan in any way, shape, or form, I will have to say that the leaks I'm hearing at least are sort of interesting. Grand Theft Auto, if you don't look at Grand Theft Auto as a murder simulator and you actually play the story, it's actually a really good story. It's actually really good games. All the games have been really good over the past years. But everyone always looks at it as the carjacking, kill the hookers, and whatnot. And that's, yes, you can do that in Grand Theft Auto, but the stories in Grand Theft Auto are actually really good. What's going on, David Rose? Travis also says, also been a little while since we did this, so we hear a question for you. Can you think of any games where critics and maybe even friends ragged on it, then you played it and loved it? Yeah, that's every game I play. Like, every game I play. Like, pick a game. There's people ragging on BattleBit Remastered. There's people that ragged on me for Marvel's Avengers. There's people that ragged on me for Fallout 76. There's people that ragged on me for Gotham. There's people that ragged on me for, what was the other game? Marvel Future Revolution. That's like every game I play on this channel, Travis. David Rose says, tasty GTA 6 leaks. I'd never believed these till the official personally, but interesting to finally hear stuff about the game, possibly. Usually, all the leaks that have come out, Rose, they were official. They were leaks until they were official. Like when they had the 45-minute videos of all the stuff that was happening, like months and months and months ago. I mean, they didn't deny it. And when you don't deny something, then it's usually the truth. What's going on, Jesse Mack? What's going on, Water? All right. Come on, Magic Dolphin. Kylo. Let's get started here. Activision. First story. Activision will be a limited integration company post-merger similar to ZeniMax. So Microsoft will most likely be hands-off in the $68.7 billion merger goes through, and the Activision will be a limited integration company similar to ZeniMax. So Microsoft has confirmed that Activision will be a limited integration company if the merger goes through. Microsoft plans to mostly hands-off with Activision on post-merger bias. We've also discussed this with previous coverage, but now it's been made official. Activision will have a limited integration into Microsoft, meaning the publisher will essentially be its own operational unit outside of the purview of the controller of the Xbox Game Studios, Matt Booty. This is similar to how ZeniMax currently operates. Microsoft bought ZeniMax in 2021 for $7.5 billion, and the publisher remains in control of specific parts of the business. And there's just one decision that no Microsoft owner, developer, or publisher can make exclusively. Xbox Gaming CEO Phil Spencer has a final call on which games become exclusive to the Xbox platform. In today's hearing, the FTC versus Microsoft's case, Xbox Gaming CFO Tim Stewart confirmed that Activision will be a limited integration entity with Microsoft Games business. This means that Activision Blizzard would stay on its own and report directly to Xbox Gaming CEO Phil Spencer and not report to Xbox Game Studio lead Matt Booty. Spencer would also still have the final say if exclusivity decisions the same way that he does with ZeniMax titles. So A couple questions down below here. It looks like here it says below transcripts of Stewart testimony with Microsoft legal counsel. It says, question: are you involved with the planning of integration of Mac with Activision into Xbox? He says, I am. Are you familiar with limited integration? He says, I reflects how we think about the acquired company. The prior 4 to 5 acquisitions have done our limited integration, and they stayed on their own, and they have their own compensation plans and operates efficiently like a separate entity. They retain their own development talent. It says, will Activision will be a limited integration? Yes, they will be limited integration. So there you go. So Activision, so get your boots on, because now people are going to be like, if a Call of Duty game comes out or anything that gets developed after the fact, if it's bad in any way, shape, or form, it's Microsoft's fault, even though Microsoft is keeping hands off, just like they were hands off, for better or worse, Redfall. They didn't have anything to say for Redfall. They didn't help them with Redfall. Redfall failed on its own because of ZeniMax, because of Arcane, because of Bethesda, right? Starfield's coming out. Microsoft let Todd Howard and them do what they wanted to do. The only thing that they had to say was that it's going to be exclusive for Xbox and PC. So moving forward, Activision, just like Sony is with Bungie, Bungie is its own integration with the company. They get to separate on their own. The only thing is, when it comes to exclusive, Phil Spencer says, hey, we're going to do this. But hey, obviously, if something goes wrong along the pipeline, I don't think they're going to have lessons learned here. They're not going to let Redfall happen again. You know, or at least you would hope they wouldn't have Redfall happen again, because they were hands off with Redfall. Redfall comes out and it falls flat on its face. And now Phil Spencer took one on the chin. So, yes, integration, limited integration, but that limited, I think, has a quotation around it. Personally, myself, I think limited is like, yeah, it's limited as long as you guys are doing what you're supposed to do, then it's limited integration. But if something's going wrong, we're gonna jump in, all hands on deck type of thing, right? So we'll see what happens as that comes over. But again, Microsoft has always said that they're hands off. They let certain companies that they buy underneath the Game Studio, Xbox Game Studio brand, and then they have the ones that they have separate, like ZeniMax, and then Activision if the merger goes through. Let's see what you guys are saying in chat. It's only crazy until you prove it correct, then you're just accurate, right? For the rumors. ZeniMax is super limited. Super limited to what? Oh, Travis. Magic Dolphin says, I heard a conspiracy that Microsoft put on a shitty Redfall to make themselves look bad and win the deal. How would that, well, where's that conspiracy? Let me know what that conspiracy is. What's the lowdown on that one? What's going on, Stealth? I mean, by the standards, we shouldn't be seeing so many live service games, since most of them have been failures. Well, the problem with live service, you got to remember, live service games are pretty new into the industry itself. I mean, now we're what, like 8-9 years into live service games, but in the grand scheme of video games, it's very, very young as far as what it is in the business. So they're going to take chances and see what works. The problem is, look at live service. How am I going to break this down? Look at live service just like regular video games in the past, right? In the very beginning of video games, there was just games. No live service, just games. People made games, and they delivered games. And then there wasn't that many games, but then more games started coming out. More games started coming out. And the early games were all like hits, right? Because there wasn't that many games. Sure, there was bad games. Don't get me wrong. There's always been bad games, and there's been really good games. So I'm talking about Atari time, Nintendo time. Then there's an abundance of games that come out. Okay? Abundance of games that come out. And not every game is going to be a hitter, right? So there's games that come out that weren't live service games that just come out and you're like, this is just a bad game. Just a bad game. So does that make all games that come out just bad games? No. So live service games now. Let's go back to live service games. Live service games come out. The couple of live service games come out, they do it right. Destiny did it right. Division kind of did it right. Fallout 76, right? Name a game. There's live service games that are making it. Don't throw in MMOs into this, because those are live service games, but they're also paid subscriptions and whatnot, and that landscape has changed. I'm just talking about straight up live service games, battle passes, single pass, right? PvP type of stuff, where the live service is there, and there's hitters and there's missers, and live service games that you might like now get shut off. The ones in the past didn't get shut off because they were already complete. The games were out. They were just bad games. You could go still play those bad games. Live service games, when they become bad, they go bye-bye because they're online all the time. So instead of looking at it going, well, they're all leaving, it's the same process. There's good games, there's bad games. Now there's good live service games, there's bad live service games. The difference is we don't own the games anymore. So when they shut the servers down, they just get rid of them. I don't think there's more games that are being bad now than there was in the past. I just think that more people are just noticing it because now those games vanish. They completely go bye-bye. Come on, Dapstick. I mean, the conspiracy isn't that insane considering aliens shot Kennedy. Exactly. Details, I just thought it was funny. Well, what I'm saying, Magic, I want to know the breakdown of why people think what you said, right? Make themselves, so they failed. They're like 4D chess. They made Redfall come out and fail on purpose so they can get the deal through. Why would a third place company that's not leading the industry need to fail on a game so they can get an acquisition to go through? I'm not saying you personally. I just want to know that breakdown, like why they would toss it out so they would get more pity on them. Do you know what I mean? Let's go on, Sarge. Hopefully Transformers will be successful. It'll be successful until it's not. Do you know what I mean? If a lot of people play and a lot of people, and it's very popular, then it'll make it. If it's not that number, whatever that imaginary number they want to hit is, then it goes bye-bye. Good measures, I guess. I don't know. So yeah, I think a lot of people look at this though with Activision's, if they do in a limited integration, okay? Limited integration, people are going to blame, again, because Activision was just so good now, right? They've never made a bad game. They've never had Cold War or Vanguard come out. They've never had a bad Call of Duty game, right? Right? Never had a bad Call of Duty game. But now, when they have a Call of Duty game that doesn't do as well, they'll blame Microsoft. That's the way it'll work. Even though Microsoft has said before that they're hands off and they're letting the company, Activision, make the games they want to make. Blizzard, we're going to make the games they're going to make, and all they're going to do, supposedly, again, they have the rights to change whatever they want. Limited integration means that, hey, you need help with something, we'll help you. You need money with something, we'll help you. But I'm going to love the one side looking at, well, Activision's bad now because of Microsoft, and I'm just going to laugh. Mark it on your calendars, folks. $10 for Bumblebee skin? Probably $25. Let's be honest. Let's be honest, Magic. Cold War was good. Financially, Cold War wasn't good compared to a Call of Duty. Comparing Call of Duties to Call of Duties, Travis, Cold War and Vanguard didn't do good for them. Again, these are facts. Not my facts. They're facts. Of course it will. It is. We hate Microsoft because they shouldn't have eaten the apple. I mean, sure, but when someone says we have nothing to do with them, they're on their stand alone, and then someone comes back and says, "Well, this game's bad because of this." You know what I mean? Like Redfall was a massive management problem. We've read stories now. It's come out. Right? Redfall had management issues from Arcane to ZeniMax to Bethesda all the way up to Xbox. Xbox was hands off. We know this now, right? They thought when they got picked up that Microsoft was going to say, okay, just cancel the game. And Microsoft's like, no, you guys keep doing what you're doing. And the employees at that time were like, oh my God, we thought we were going to get rid of this game. But ZeniMax and Bethesda and Arcane's management staff was like, yeah, no, we're still working on this game, but the only difference is we're not making it for PlayStation now. That was the only call from Xbox. Okay? So they were hands off. They let the studio do what the studio was supposed to do, and the studio failed. And the upper management failed from one to the next, all the way to Microsoft to let them know, hey, yeah, this game is shit. And by the way, it's coming out in a couple of months. And they're like, yeah, that's cool, whatever you guys want. Okay? It's not Microsoft's problem. They didn't cause the problem, but they also didn't try to fix the problem. They just said, yeah, Arcane, you're all good. ZeniMax is like, yeah, they're good. You guys, Arcane's looking at anyone going, please help us. We're drowning over here. Anyone, please just change. We don't want this game. So can you blame Microsoft for being hands-off? Sure, but it's not their fault that Redfall sucked. It was Arcane's fault. It was Bethesda's fault. It was ZeniMax's fault. And then at the end of the day, it was Microsoft's fault for putting it out, I should say, for a full price $70, $100 or $120, whatever it was for that edition. Okay. And then putting it on Game Pass broke. That's their fault. But the development side, that's not Microsoft's fault. If they truly stand alone, highly doubt they will be hands off with Activision. You could be hands off with Arcane, or at best an A-B tier company. But Travis, why would you involve yourself with Activision if Call of Duty right now, it's 30 million sales a year before you had it? Why would you stir the pot? Why would you stir the pot? Seems kind of a stupid move, especially when you spend $70 billion, or almost $70 billion on a company. You would let them do what they're doing because they're going to make your money back faster. Hence why they're like, yeah, we're hands off. They're not underneath the umbrella of Microsoft. Plus, I would assume they wouldn't put them underneath the umbrella of Microsoft under the Xbox Studio because they know people like yourself would just blame them because they've taken over. Jesse Max says 30 new Transformers movie is bad enough to ruin their Transformers Reactivate game. 50-50. I think about it. Thoughts? I didn't see the new movie. It doesn't look like it's doing very good. It didn't appeal to me. But again, I'm not a Beast Wars guy. I don't know. I think games and movies can stand alone on themselves. Don't get me wrong. I do think that there's a big, huge section. Like, look at Witcher. Witcher 3, when it came out, was popular. But then when the Witcher series came out, and then the Witcher animated series came out, Witcher 3 became more popular, right? More people then went out and buy it. So it does have a degree of what's the word I'm looking for? Of push of sales and whatnot. So does it do the opposite effect? Sure. Like, look at Marvel. Marvel's Avengers was in that, not the peak. It was just after Endgame. So it was at the down scale. Like, if Marvel's Avengers came out during like Endgame that time, I think it would have been received much better. But after Endgame, they had a couple of movies that came out and it was like, And then I think that cause of effect was that the game didn't do well because the IPs themselves weren't doing well. So I do think it has a correlation. But I think that the mass population that goes to the theaters is different than the people that just like Transformers. And I think people that like Transformers will get Transformers. So it could have an effect on it, but I don't know. I don't think it will have a big effect if they separate themselves far enough away. Yeah, it's management for not catching it and sounds like a lazy development for me. Well, Magic, when we read that article a couple weeks ago about Redfall, and Redfall's developers, when the deal was going through and they knew they were getting bought out by Microsoft, they were excited because they thought Microsoft was going to cancel the game. Okay? They thought they were going to cancel the game. The developers thought that they were going to come in and go, oh, this is our chance. We hate working on this game, right? This is true. They hated working on the game because they didn't like what it was. They didn't have their passion into it. And then they thought Microsoft was going to come in and cancel the game. But Microsoft was like, no, business as usual. You guys keep doing what you're doing. And Arcane was like, oh, oh, we got to keep working on this thing, right? So is that Xbox's problem because they didn't catch it? I guess, but before you get to Xbox, you got to talk to your leads. And they didn't know anything was wrong with the game until it was too late. At that point, they had to make a business decision and going, all right, let's just put it out there, which I still disagree with because that game was so bad that they shouldn't even have charged money for it. Game Pass, okay, but charging $70 and $100, that's some BS right there. Travis says, I knew Redfall would be a shit because Arcane has yet to make a good game. Bought the first Dishonored on sale for $5. Biggest waste of $5 ever. I don't know, Travis. Dishonored, I don't like them myself, so I agree with you. I don't like Dishonored. I don't like Prey. Not my type of games. I personally wouldn't say they're crap, but I didn't like them. And then Arcane making Redfall, it's the first multiplayer game they've ever made. So, but I didn't like the games, but doesn't mean they're crap games. Magic says, my son doesn't give two shits if the game is good or not. He'll play it because of the name. For Call of Duty, Magic, is that what you're talking about? Or Transformers? Which has become mainstream? Yeah, now, yeah. Oh, Stealth, you're saying I thought it was great. The movie, Transformers, gotcha. I mean, come on, the new movie opened up with Wu-Tang Clan. Instantly good. Well, I think they had Wu-Tang Clan because of the time period of the movie, right? I would assume. I didn't see it. Didn't Arcane do Deathloop? Yeah, they did Deathloop. They've done Prey. But no, Deathloop wasn't... I don't... Let me look it up. I think it was a mixed venture. Yeah, it was Arcane. It was Arcane Studios. But is that considered a multiplayer game? I guess it is because it's a co-op game, right? Or is it a multiplayer game? I guess it is a multiplayer game. I stand corrected. I love Dishonored, but I hated Final Fantasy. It's a matter of taste. Oh, did you not like the new Final Fantasy? Would it be considered, and I'm trying to figure this out, Rose, would it be considered the same type? I get that it's multiplayer, right? But Redfall's the different, it's co-op play. Is there co-op play in Deathloop? I don't know. I'm asking. I've never played Deathloop. So what I'm asking is the standalone drop in, drop out type of thing. Well, it's actually, I don't even think it's drop in, drop out. Is Redfall drop in, drop out? I think you had a 10 drop in, drop out in Redfall. I don't know. I only played it for 3 hours. But I think that the technology that goes behind what Redfall was compared to Deathloop is completely different. I could be wrong again. Xbox is going to be hands-on because they want to be able to say, I made COD great again. It's all about ego. I don't think it is. See, I think that's what I think you're mistaking what Microsoft is compared to another company, right? If Microsoft was about ego, then they wouldn't put most of their games on all the platforms, play wherever you want. That their whole motto of play games wherever you want kind of takes that ego out of it, wouldn't you say, Travis? I mean, realistically, if they say you could play where you want, how would that make them an ego of we made COD great again? As I just don't get that statement. 30 seasons, 3 of which are, if you're not seeing it yet, they bring in the Wild Hunt series. Some fans getting excited and see them since The Witcher 3, and then the Wild Hunt game, some fans service. I haven't seen season 3. I'm not gonna watch it. I didn't watch season 2 either. I watched season 1. I thought it was good, but I'm not interested in season 2 or 3. Did you play the last COD? I did on stream. I played the multiplayer stuff. I didn't play the single player water. I played the DZ. I played the Ground War. We played it extensively for like a week. I refuse to pay for Call of Duty campaign again. I'm just not a big Call of Duty fan. I lost my Call of Duty was back in Modern Warfare 2 back in the day. The last Call of Duty I purchased was, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. 2009, 2011, whatever it was. I think it's all about ego for every person. Why do parents say, see what my kid did? Or my kid is graduating from Sanford? You didn't do that to the kid, did? Kid did? What? I think it's all about ego for every person. Why do parents say, see what I did? My kid is graduating from Sanford. You didn't do that. The kid did. Well, that's not true either. You don't have a kid. So you saying that statement's also kind of weird because do you know what I do with my son right now when I'm done? By teaching him how to read and do math and get him educated. So when he does go to Stanford or wherever he wants to go, or if he's a dropout, whatever he is, you 100% take credit for what your son's doing or daughter. If your son or daughter becomes a crack whore, okay, on the side of the street, you as a parent are going to be very disappointed on what you did with your kid growing up to make them good or bad. So to say that the kid did it, sure, let the kid go outside and let him do whatever he wants and see how good he gets. That is the most stupidest thing I think you've said so far in my stream, saying that the ego of your parents for your kid when they graduate school. What are you talking about? Except if they do it after they leave your house, that's on them. But still, I'm not even gonna continue with this, Travis. I'm gonna stay quiet. I'm gonna stay quiet on that. My mom told me if I don't have anything nice to say, not to say it at all. Thank you, Mom. Okay. See, I'm not living with my mom, but I can also make good decisions because my mom taught me well. Yeah, Modern Warfare 2 is awesome. I love the game. Got 300 hours. Only got me to stop playing. The cheaters are rampant in that game. Cheaters are rampant in all PvP games. I think we saw a little bit last night in what's it called? BattleBit. Oh, you're good, Chapter 8. We're good. Well, Water, there's a lot of people out there that their parents suck. Let's be honest. So a lot of people don't have parents. Sometimes they don't have both parents. Sometimes they don't even have any parents because circumstances. So I would say that there's guardians somewhere across the that if you don't have parents, there's grandparents, there's uncles and aunts and people. Someone should give the rules of the world to their kid. Well, Dabstick, that's because you didn't teach him that. You didn't teach your 3-year-old how to speak. Don't take pride in that. You know what I mean? Like what are we talking about here? Travis saying that says so much about not having kids and actually experiencing stuff. They've done some good things with DMZ. Can't speak regular multiplayer, but DMZ is a lot good. Is a lot better. A lot of good. There you go. Why do you cheat in multiplayer games? Does it take the fun out of it? I can see if you're beating the game and you want to use a cheat for a single player game. Remember Game Genie? Yeah, Water. We talked about this the other day. I don't know if you were here. people cheat in multiplayer games for two reasons, in my opinion. They cheat because they suck at the game, okay, or they're bored, right? They suck at the game, so they get frustrated, so they cheat, or they're so good they're bored and they decide to cheat, right? Those are the only reasons you cheat. Because I can't imagine if you were actually having fun with the game that you would decide to cheat. Right, Dapstick. And that says more about your character for yourself, though. If you grew up, somebody had to raise you, whoever that was. Might not have been your dad or your mom, but there was somebody there for you, I would assume. Unless you're like a hardcore kid on the streets and grew up and you lived with like wolves or something. You know what I mean? I don't know. And even then, if you got raised by wolves, those wolves taught you a lot. Sometimes those parents are abusive when that happens. Better off without them. Travis, you're so far off. You're so far off from what we're talking about on this podcast. I don't know what to tell you. You might want to go see a psychiatrist. Might want to go talk to somebody because you're completely off kilter. Dabstick, I know. I was being facetious because of what Travis said. I know what parents do. Well, good. Keep seeing him. Travis was raised by Game Pass. I would be very pissed off about your kids being responsible to teach your kid how to be done me in my life and how to be a better person than your parents, how they teach you. Exactly. To say that you can't take credit for your kid going to a college and becoming a good person, like, what are we talking about? Next story. Okay. Grand Theft Auto 6, GTA 6 to have an ever-evolving map with regular updates and Vice City as main setting. Reports. Rumor. Okay. The reason I'm talking about this today is because we talked about this 5 years ago, right? Me and Sarge on Generation X Gaming Podcast, which is on tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern. We talked about the next Grand Theft Auto, and I said that it would probably be a GTA World. They would do like an online thing. They would do now. Obviously, back then we didn't know that live service games would be what they are today. It's got to be like 5-6 years ago, whatever it was. Not prominent as it is today. And we said, now again, this is just hypothetical. We don't know if GTA 6 is going to have this, but it is interesting to me that people are starting to kind of catch on and whatnot. So the rumor is, okay, that they're going to have a map, and the map is going to be ever evolving. Think Fortnite. Think constant, always changing. Okay. It's been more than a decade since the last Grand Theft Auto game has released, and the expansive open world gameplay has mesmerized fans who still can't get enough. Many fans believe that it's among the best games ever made, and the titles like Red Dead Redemption 2, Grand Theft Auto 5, Rockstar Games has also become one of the most dependable developers in the world. So it's no wonder that the fans have a pretty high expectation for Grand Theft Auto 6. However, nothing officially has been announced yet, despite the demands of something really quick. Although there's much confusion about what to expect from GTA game, the news about the potential ever-evolving map in GTA 6 is a reason for fans to celebrate. Okay, so a Twitter post suggests that the Rockstar game may have plans to keep updating GTA 6 over time, possibly resulting in a huge map. For the long time, GTA fans is possibly that the Vice City might be the heart of the map, and then in the next GTA title is existing news. However, the post also hints that the new update will also add new cities, regions to the game. So, obviously, if you look at it, we look at it as you know, that they're going to put in all of, Florida or whatever it is, if it is Vice City. And then after that, I said that you would fly to, what's it called? You would go to New York, Liberty City. You would go to San Andreas. You would go to all these places that they've ever had in the series. So, what was Vegas called in GTA? I forget what Vegas was called in GTA. But regardless, they would add all of these places to it to make it an ever-evolving world. Now, I think the single-player game would be just Vice City, okay? And then I said the open-world online portion of the game, just like they did with Red Dead, just like they did with Grand Theft Auto 5, they would constantly update. If it's free DLC, if it's paid DLC, it would just keep adding to the actual thing. So the upcoming GTA title may also boost more interior locations than other GTA games to date. While Rockstar Games' initial plans to model the map after the vast region of North and South America, the final map may only be the size of Miami. However, adding new regions is still on the table, what developers believe will help to lessen stress of relief of the game in the complete form. So there was also the guy, Dan, I forget the guy's name that was the lead. He's no longer with the company, but he said in the past that they wanted to make a world. Like, they could technically make planet Earth and make it into a Grand Theft Auto game. And I think that's their goal, to be honest. I think that at some point you're going to have a GTA Online MMO type of thing. And I truly, truly believe that they're going to push down. They're going to really, really put their foot down on role-playing. They're going to put a lot of different pieces of gear that you can play inside the game, give you all the stuff so you can role play, because they don't want a third-party site doing that. They knock them down. They do all the stuff. So I do believe that Rockstar and GTA 6 is going to have the biggest single player they've ever had. And then I think on the online version, they're going to have the biggest online they've ever had. Because look what they've do to Grand Theft Auto 5 now. They just keep adding content after content after content. It's I don't know who adds more content at this point. No Man's Sky or Grand Theft Auto. I don't know which one it is. I think it's Grand Theft Auto, but we'll see. Thank you, Jesse. Thank you. That's it. Sarge got it too. Thank you, Sarge. I wonder why they put GTA 5 back onto Game Pass yesterday. Get the buzz out, right? Maybe they're making an announcement soon. Get it out there for people. Who knows? I think they're going to make an announcement sometime September, October. That's when they're going to start this whole carnival of Grand Theft Auto 6. So buckle up. We're going to have a lot of Grand Theft Auto 6 rumors and talks in the upcoming months. All the characters are terrible. Like, from a virtue aspect or from, like, written aspect, Travis? Because Grand Theft Auto, Michael, Trevor, and I forget the other guy. Not CJ. CJ was in San Andreas. Is it Carl? I think it was Carl. Those three protagonists were fantastic. Fantastic. Was it Franklin? That's it. Franklin. No. Was it Franklin? It was Michael, Franklin, and Trevor? Is that what it was, boss? I can't remember the third guy. Mike. I remember Michael because that's my name. I remember Trevor because he was just a psychopath. It was Franklin? Okay. Yeah, so you got Franklin, Michael, and Travis. Or Trevor. Yeah, let's just call him Travis now, right? And those three characters were fantastic, man. Did you play the game? From a likability standpoint or values, either or? Those three characters were some of the greatest characters that there were. Like, you telling me that those characters were bad characters, I'm going to say that's even written better because you hated them because they were so good. Every GTA ever made has an amazing single-player story. Yes, played it and beat it. I don't know what to tell you, man. I mean, each their own, but written-wise, Michael, Trevor, and Franklin were 3 great protagonists in a story. Like, take it out of a video game, put it into a movie, just as good. Maybe you're supposed to hate them? Well, yeah, one is a gangster, right? One's a mobster, one's a thug, and one's a psychopath. They're bad guys that you're making good guys. Like, that's the point. Nico was another great character, Dave. Nico Bellic was another great character. Now, there was some shitty writing in that. I hated Grand Theft Auto dating system. I hated that. I hated the dating system stuff. There was some cheesy lines and stuff written and characters written, but they were over the top. Like Gay Tony, and then what was the guy's name for the biker gang? The way he was, right? There was just a lot of little cast of characters that were in that. They're also in Grand Theft Auto 5 as well. All the characters, even the side pedestrians, are written well. Travis also hates Fallout 4, but played 300 hours. That's true, Dolphin. That's true. Worst game ever. How many hours you got in it? I put 52 in, and then I hated it, and then I went back and put another 248 hours in. Oh, I didn't know that. Franklin is cousins with the CJ actor in real life. That's cool. Never said I hated it. I said it was flawed compared to New Vegas. You didn't use the word flawed. I think you used the word, it was shit or crap. I forget which words you used, but it definitely wasn't flawed. That's not the word you used, Travis. Never said I hated it. Said it was flawed compared to New Vegas. You definitely didn't say it was flawed. I'm sure I can go back to that. What episode was that? Yeah, you know what? I don't give a shit. Well, it's a word I'm using now. And then I'm going to use a word liar. How about that? Gave Dota a bad review. Super awkward for having 14,000 hours in the game. Yeah. It didn't get good until 12,000 hours in. And then, I had to make a review. It was awkward. My first 13,999 hours in Dota were really shitty. You gave a bad review. Stop it, Dabstick. You gave a bad review after 14,000 hours of playing. I can't. I can't even talk to you right now. 14,000 hours. You put 14,000 hours into a game and then gave it a bad review. I think Dabstick, you're up there with Travis in the crazy land. They broke their matchmaking system, but you have 14,000 hours. Like, can we stop for a second, Dabstick? 14,000 hours in a game, and you're like, game shit. If you're giving a review of the game or giving a review of the latest update, those are two different things. That's like ordering a burger, then ordering another burger, then ordering another burger, and then ordering another burger, and then after you've eaten 10 or 15 burgers, like, those burgers sucked. Like, what? I know someone who said they loved all 3 Mass Effects, were great games, got to the end of 3, called it the worst games ever made. But do you understand when people do that, Travis? That's crazy. That's crazy. People just say shit to say shit. Not because they believe it. They just say it to say it. That's almost 2 years of 24/7. Yeah, and they hated the game. Bad review. Now I'm not picking on Dabstick. I'm trying to fathom, like, 14,000 hours. You didn't hate that game in any way, shape, or form. You were just pissed off at one particular moment in that game and then wrote a bad review. If you already put over 200 hours into D4 but don't like it at all, hate it, it's trash. Yeah, Water, that doesn't make any sense to me, right? I put 3 hours into Redfall. 3 hours. What kind of psychopath are you that you put in thousands of hours or hundreds of thousands of hours into a game and then go, yeah, I didn't like it? Like, what? 3 hours. That's all I needed. We actually played a little longer because it was content related, right? I forced Sarge to play it just so we had a good time. Do you know how many hours I have in Redfall after we played it? 0. It's off my hard drive. I'm telling you right now, anybody in the chat, not individual, anybody in my chat that says they have over hundreds of hours in a game and then say it was crap, I can't take your word serious. I can't take your word serious if you put hundreds of hours into a game and then tell me it's trash. If you told me you put 10 hours in, you're like, yeah, I didn't like it. Cool. You put 20 hours in, because it all depends on what type of game it is, right? Maybe you didn't get to the end game, maybe you did, right? But to keep you hooked for that long and then say it's trash, that just, I don't even know what to say. I don't like a game after a few hours at most. Putting 14,000 hours in and saying you don't like it might consider therapy for 14,000 hours. Well, this is what I'm saying. I think he's just upset about a patch, and then took his frustration out by writing a review based on the patch. But to say that the game is absolute garbage, do you know what I mean? It's like people who read every Twilight book and then say it didn't like it. I mean, you like something about it. Exactly. Right? See, I'm not trying to single you out, Dabstick, because you're not the first person to come in to say some ridiculous number and you played a game for some ridiculous number and then didn't like it. I just don't get, like, unless you're a person like me that you do this for a living and, like, talk about video games and you have to play or give it a good shot to talk about it, to give people information, cool, right? But if you're just an average goer gamer just playing the game, to take your time to put 200 hours, 100 hours into a shitty game, okay? I put 82 hours into Fallout 76, okay? The game has problems, but there was goods and bads about it. It wasn't just a shit game. Redfall was a shit game. Knew it was a shit game within the first hour of playing it. Travis's friend playing all 3 Mass Effects. And then at the very end of Mass Effect saying that the game is trash. Like, what are we talking about? I think in that scenario, the only trash is the actual viewpoint of a person that played Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3, and then said all their whole time was trash and wasted. Only time in my life I remember putting lots of time into a trash game was when I was a kid and broke. So only I got the games for my birthday and Christmas, so I had nothing else to play. Now that's understandable, Dave. That's understandable. It's a completely different conversation if there's an 8-year-old in channel and a 38-year-old in channel. Do you see what I'm saying? An 8-year-old that, when we were younger, didn't have a streaming service, and you had to buy a game and you had to play that game over and over and over and over. It might have been a crap game, E.T., right? Goonies, Battletoads, because of frustration. But to say a game is bad or whatever, and you can actually afford to go play something else as an adult, that's just weird. I know you didn't say trash, Dabstick, and I'm saying again, not picking on you specifically. There's plenty of people out there that have put in hundreds of hours, though, that say a game is trash. And I use the example for Travis's friend that played all 3 Mass Effects and then said the series was trash. Like, that doesn't make any sense. You know what the funny part is now, Dave? My son, who's 8 years old, when he doesn't like a game, just stops playing it. I know it's crazy. Right? And then he'll tell me, I didn't really like this game because it was boring. Why was it boring? Well, when you did this, like, he played it for a couple hours and was like, yeah, I don't like this game. It's boring. I couldn't do that as a kid. You paid $60 for the game, brought it home, and then you had a 14-day return policy. Right? You had a 14-day return policy. Yeah, thank you, Game Pass. Exactly. And this is why I say it saves me tons of money and time. Like, if I had to go back to the store and do a return, it's open, restock fee, can't take it back now. You think the season's going to start today? You think the season's going to start today, boss? I know there's rumors of it going around that it might start. Oh, I didn't forget ET. I said ET. I 100% said ET. Rewind. I said it. Well, speaking of Diablo, right? Let's move on over. We got 9 changes. This is Dark Microtransaction. I like his content. I've been watching him. We found him during Marvel Future Revolution, the mobile phone game, because he was a mobile phone content creator. Spends a lot of money on microtransactions, hence why his name is Darth Microtransaction. He has a Diablo channel. He's making good content. He just, I mean, in 2 weeks, I think it was 2 weeks, he went from starting the channel a couple months ago, but within 2 weeks of starting Diablo content, he went from, I think it was like 7,000 subscribers, and he's got 208,000 subscribers now. So good for him, right? Life-changing stuff for him. All right, so let's watch the 9 things that he's talking about, and we'll stop it along the way.
We can mark something as junk, so that way it...
Hold on.
Number 1, we can mark something as junk, so that way it will be salvaged, but there's no way to mark the reverse.
I said this within minutes of playing the game. I was like, why can I mark it as junk, but I can't mark it and lock it? Right? I said this. I compared it to Division 2. I was like, I can lock guns there. Why? If I have 90%, right? If I have 90% of the stuff in my inventory is shit, why do I have to go and click every single one to make it junk? Default should be it's all junk. And then I lock the ones I want. So then when I go to the vendor, I can just click on it and then get rid of everything.
For something that's not junk. Meaning when we actually go to the blacksmith and we do all items, it's going to destroy all items, no matter if it's junk or not. This is the reverse of what it should be. You should be marking things for what are not junk. For that reason,
exactly.
The first change we need is a way to mark things to save them. I've crunched really good items.
What simple quality of life things? I'm blown away that Diablo, Blizzard, the company that's made games and they've been in the industry since I've been born, doesn't know to put a lock system into the thing.
Number 2 is a button on each one of these squares. I've seen people ask for a refund all button for all Paragon points, but what I really want is for each one of these squares to have
a good one. I like that. So you could just reset. You could reset the whole board. You could reset just the one bingo card, or you can do individual. I like that.
A button right here that refund all points for this square. A lot of builds are going to use this one and this one, for instance, for me, but these side ones I rotate through quite often. So a way to refund all of the ones for each individual Paragon board would be a giant W for me. Number 3 is the wardrobe system is very good, but we should be able to attach not only wardrobe transmogs, but also armory spots as well, with the associated gold cost, etc. in there is perfectly acceptable. But if we had a way of another bar where we have ensembles for wardrobes, then the
like loadouts?
next one is for actual armory outfits. That would be wonderful as well. There are many very good builds in this game that I would like to continue to.
Yeah, he's talking about loadouts. So I hate the fact, and I preached this before the game even came out, when they first announced that you would have to make another rogue after, right? Like, why do I have to be a rogue and then I have a build and I have a poison build, or I have to erase all my Paragon board. I have to change my board, and let's just say I have millions and millions of gold, right? I have no problem. I'll spend 10 million gold to reset my Paragon and my... But now I'm sitting there for 10 to 15 minutes going through the Paragon board to make my build again, right? Just let me have loadouts. So pop, and it changes the stuff that I want. Why? Who is this hurting? Who's this hurting? Right? Even if you have a rogue that's a PvP build, but you have a PvE, and you're playing PvE, and then you're like, you know what? I'm going to go in to play PvP. You got to like rotate a whole bunch of stuff. Loadout. What's the problem?
To use, I don't like being pigeonholed into just one and having to go in and remove all of my Paragon points, etc. This armory system should also save the skills on your skill bar.
I mean, let's be honest, Big T. When did loadouts come to Destiny? When did loadouts come to Destiny? When did loadouts come to Marvel's Avengers? Right? It makes no sense. Makes no sense. Let's make an RPG, right? Yeah, Magic. The game is 9 years old. They decided to put in loadouts 2 seasons ago. Do you see a problem here? It's an RPG where you change loadouts all the time. Yeah, no, brain. The word loadout came to Marvel's Avengers over a year ago. There's actually no loadouts though. Just the button that flashes that says loadouts. So as long as Diablo gets loadouts before 8 years, they're ahead of the time.
As well as the skill trees that you use as well. Number 4, the whispers here from the tree. The rewards should be buffed. But on top of the rewards being buffed, after you claim and complete one, you should be able to click and select the next region you want to target. Maybe there's dungeons you want to accomplish.
I missed what he's saying here. Let's go with this one.
Number 4, the whispers here from the tree. The rewards should be buffed. But on top of the rewards
should be buffed. Because time. If it takes me 20 minutes to do a whole thing, let's just say, right? It takes me 20 minutes to do a whisper. And then I get something and it's not buffed, like it's not a sacred or whatnot. Okay? Then there's no point to do the whisper. I can just go into a nightmare dungeon and I can run 3 nightmare dungeons in the time frame that it would take me to run a whisper, and I'm getting a shit ton more gear from a nightmare dungeon than I am from this.
Being buffed, after you claim and complete one, you should be able to click and select the next region you want to target. Maybe there's dungeons you want to accomplish there. Maybe there's renown you...
Oh, I like that. So he's saying that instead of just waiting for the random, that you get to pick where you want to go.
haven't got yet there, maybe you have a Nightmare Sigil there. It would seem to me if you're on a spree of doing these, you should be able to continue to be on a row and click, I want to go here, and have all of these randomized ones across the map be generated in whatever region. Understandably, this could maybe be used to min-max to make some regions better than others, but I think in a counter logic, it would also be good for players who are still coming up in the game, as they can target locations they still need to discover.
I mean, it doesn't hurt the player base, right? It doesn't hurt the player base, so it does make sense what he's saying. There's no downside to doing that for the player base.
Number 5, blue side missions should be discoverable on the map if you have seen them once. So if I understand,
Aren't they? Once you get the blue exclamation mark, it does stay on the map, doesn't it?
hiding the blue exclamation mark so that you have to discover the map. But once I've walked past them, if I forgot to go pick it up, it should be discovered just like the map is. And I should be able to look on the map and see, oh, there was a blue mission here I left.
I could have sworn that the blue missions stay on the map if you walk past them. The exclamation points show up and they stay on the map. Am I hallucinating that?
Instead of having to walk around the map or using another website to find where
Some
the
of
blue
them
missions
don't.
I missed is, it would be nice to know, oh, I just didn't pick up one.
The exclamation marks or the blue dots? I'm talking about the exclamation marks, boss. You have to be close to the mission markers for it to show up on the map. But if I go to that town, right? If I go to that town, I'm going to have to turn my Xbox on and see. Because if I go to that town, I'm pretty sure they show the blue markers. Not ones in open world around. Only the ones in the town. It'd be close enough to the mission markers to show up on the map.
And over there. Number 6 is obvious. More stash inventory and a...
Yeah, the stash inventory is just... I said this before and I'll stick to it. If I have to buy stashes with real life currency, I'm done. Okay? I'm done.
search button where we can type in the name of the aspect to discover. Helltide chest experience rewards, while buffed, should be buffed yet again. This is less than 40,000 experience for doing one of these, which feels like a pretty big letdown. The oboe trader should either give the ability to get unique items, or the whispering keys that you buy in order to open up the silent chest should have a chance of getting uniques as well.
I agree with
It
that.
does feel disappointing.
Though every time I open one of these chests, I'm so underwhelmed. So underwhelmed. Not only do you have to remember to buy the keys, but then you have to find the random chest out in the world. And then when you find the chest, you open it up and nothing happens. Like nothing comes out of it.
Pointing to me that the whispering keys very often don't feel like they have a reason to exist. I would rather just gamble with my oboes instead to try to get an item. Therefore, the whispering keys could have some benefit other than just random dopamine of seeing a chest if they could actually drop a unique themselves. This would also be balanced by the fact that you have to have the keys either in your inventory or in your stash, which they do work from stash, by the way. And you also have to find the chest around the map. For this reason, it's sort of balanced. I think it would be fine.
But why though, Water? What's the point of those chests though? I don't think orbs should get uniques. But then what's the point of those chests at a higher level? Do you just not open them anymore? Do you not spend the money on getting those keys to go out in the world? Like what are you getting? What's that for? You're going to spend 20 coins to open up a chest to get garbage that you're just going to break down? You know what I mean? I got a few keys, but they're pointless. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. They're pointless because I'm opening up a chest. You could just open up a regular chest and get the same stuff. But that's fine. But at least if you get something you feel, right, you're getting nothing now. I've opened up tons and tons of those chests. I get nothing. They're pointless. It's no different than getting a random chest, honestly. It should be a special chest with good stuff. That's what I'm saying, boss. If I'm going to do an event, get these coins, go back to town, get the key, take the key, find the random chest in the world, there should be something from it. Same with the loot goblin. The loot goblin, I killed a couple of times now, and I still get nothing. I'm like, okay, great.
By the same logic of loot feeling good, I think treasure goblins should be buffed. Very
Holy shit, look at that.
few of the time I get an item that is any good. It comes from a treasure goblin. I more now kill a treasure goblin because it is a treasure goblin and it's fun more than expecting good loot to come from a treasure goblin.
Right. You want a bunch of stuff. Treasure Goblin is just like opening up a chest. Right? Just like opening up a chest. There needs to be some sort of engagement to, if I kill a regular bad guy, I kill a world boss, I open up a chest, I open up a secret mystery chest, I open up a chest from a goblin, I open up a key chest. All the stuff is just like the same. There's no like the butcher. I've killed the butcher so many freaking times. I get nothing. I get a skin. Which I haven't received yet. Okay? I haven't received it yet. I must have killed him 45 times now.
The rest of my complaints or things have already been addressed by the devs, and they said they are working on it. There will come. So for me, that's my entire list. See you tomorrow.
That's a pretty good list. Good list. I got the Butcher's Cleaver from him. It's pretty cool. But there's no actual drops. Right? There's no actual drops. Right now, I have no drive. This is how I'm playing the game right now, right? I stopped playing my druid because I honestly don't care if I get him to level 100. I honestly don't care to beat Uber Lilith because you don't get anything from her except a skin, right? There's no extra like cool loot you get. There's not one of those drops you get, the 1 in 5 million hour drops, right? Nothing. So there's like no reason for drive for me. So then I'm like, the Hell Tides are still fun because if I want to upgrade my gear, I got to go do the Hell Tides, and there's a point to that, right? You got to get the materials for it to get it. But running around opening chests or doing nightmare dungeons to just get your glyphs up, if I have no drive, there's no drive to push me to get to Uber Lilith because the amount of damage that you're doing inside. Like right now, I'm level, I think, 79. Maybe, I'm 79. Almost 80. Okay? Almost 80. Which is not bad considering I haven't played in about a week. And I said that I'd probably be around 80, 81 when the season starts. And that could be today. But there's no drive for me to push forward with the stuff I have. Because I'm killing everything where I am right now. Pretty easily. Every once in a while, I get a little hectic. I got to use some potions and back out a little bit. I'll die every once in a while. But for the most part, I'm murdering everything. So what's my drive? Okay, I'm going to go up to 80, and then I'm going to murder everything again. There's no reason for me to push. There's no loot that I'm getting. I've hit the wall right now, so I went to go start a different character to build up a barbarian now. So I'm playing a barbarian. But again, I'm not really driven by it because the season 1's coming. And when season 1 comes, I'll jump back in. We'll play season 1 to make it, feel how it feels and how it is to level up faster and whatnot. And I'll give it a shot there. But there's no drive right now in the regular realm, in the eternal realm, to push my characters up a tree. I've gotten through 200M in re-rolling gear, upgrading, respecting board and tree. Beater 2, it's a nice flex. Sure, it's a nice flex, boss, but why do I have to beat her now? You know what I mean? Like, it's not like she's going anywhere. There's no immediate thing to like beat her. It would have been interesting if you were level 100 and you had to beat, like, there was a race, 1,000 people that got their names on a statue, which that's a whole other story, they debacle. But 1,000 people that got their names on the statue because they got to level 100 on hardcore. It would have been interesting if it was a level 100 hardcore and they beat Uber Lilith. Right? That would be a flex. See, but that's it. No drive for you. Blizzard still has millions who go to drive, and he said that he's keep going. There's a drive. Well, there's no drive in the eternal realm. They killed it for me when they said that you can't level up the season pass with the character that you already have. So there's no reason to continue with my character. If I start the next season and continue the season and go up with the character, then sure. And I'm going to do it because one, I'm a content creator, so I want to see how it feels through season 1, just so I can talk about it and whatnot. But if there's issues with it going up and it's the same scenario over again, then I'll see the wizard behind the curtain. I'm pretty much in the same state with D4. I've lost interest because of the loot drops. Have been upgrades for me at a higher tier. What level are you, Tiny? What level are you? I want to know what kind of if you're having the same experience or on the same level as me. I hope so. I earned it. I didn't even cheese it with some lame build that melts her in 15 seconds. Yeah, but why is that a? I'm confused with that statement though, boss. With the lame build that melts in 15 seconds. Isn't the point of the game to be as powerful as possible? So why is a build? And I understand it's subjective to you, but why is a build that's cheesy that melts something in 15 seconds? How is that different than if someone is earning it by sweating and killing the boss? I'm confused by that. Come on, Robert. The Hoda bar is getting nerfed because it's taking advantage of certain multipliers. But isn't that the game? Right? Isn't that the game? Isn't the game a number math game to combine stuff to get multipliers so you can do more damage? That's the whole point of the game, to do the most damage, right? Isn't that a flex on itself? Isn't that the point of any game? To be enjoyable and to also enjoy that what all matters? Who cares if it's 15 seconds or enjoyed until the end? Well, that's what I'm asking, though. No, one shot her with exploits. Oh, exploits. When you say lame ass build, though, I didn't know that was an exploit. If I have a build, but how? I guess they exploit fine. But if someone has the ability to one tapper with no exploits, they just do it. That's what it is. It's about the whole point of the game is to the math to do more damage to everybody that's on the board. Yeah, it is the game. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Diablo is always about who can do the most damage. So if I have a barb and you have a barb, but my barb is doing 14 million, yours is only doing 10, that's a flex. My barb is stronger than your barb. Is that an exploit? You are one-tapping her because you're exploiting the stagger damage because all bosses then stagger take time for damage. But that's in the game, though. That's not an exploit. That's taking advantage of what the game is. It's exactly the same. You're saying it. You're saying that you don't agree with it, and I understand that. You're a person that's like, I don't like doing exploits. I'm gonna do it this way. It's more of a flex on your side. But the point of the game is to do the most damage possible. I'm cheating. Yeah. Like an exploit would be something externally in the game that you're doing to like fuck with it but if you're just using what they put in the game and whatever it is, that's to me that's not an exploit. That's the game. Maybe I'm reading it wrong. No, I don't think I'm reading it wrong. But these people are making special builds, stacking all the stagger, destroying the strongest fight in the game. It does nothing outside of it. But I'm confused. That's the way they want to play the game. You're playing the game that you want to play. The hardest fight in the game and still can't destroy the nightmare dungeons. But their build is for that. This is the whole point of having loadouts. This is one of the discrepancies I have with loadouts and whatnot. But that doesn't mean it's an exploit, though. That just means they have the build to to build up for that boss fight, which should be what the game is supposed to do. You can't be mad at them for not doing a nightmare dungeon because Diablo itself, Blizzard, has decided that you can't switch your build. So if they've built them to the end game, is I can go up, go to the boss, kill the boss because that's the way I built my character. Now I go to a nightmare dungeon. I can't compete in a nightmare dungeon because my build is what it is, and I'm stuck with that build because now I can't respect my thing because it costs way too much money. You're not exploiting a bug in the game. Right now, it's within the basics of mechanics of the game where players are building for it. That's what I'm saying, Tiny. If they're building for the boss fight for Uber Lulith and they're killing it in like 10 seconds, then they've succeeded in what they're trying to do. I understand what you're saying. It's more of a pride ego thing where you get the flex and say that I beat this and I didn't do a cheesy build. I totally get that, but a cheesy build, okay, is still a build within the parameters of the game that they're doing to destroy the boss. But that's also based on what the parameters are in the game, though, boss. They decided to make their build, and because they can't change their build because of the parameters of what Blizzard has decided. The end game, again, the end game is realistically level 1 to 100, get to 100, beat the boss, and you're done. Like, you've beaten the game, boss, right? That's a flex. You've actually beaten the game. You've leveled up to 1 to 100. Check. Right? You got a good build. Check. And you beat the boss. Check. Right? That's it. You've won. You've won the game. So if a person that can beat the game just like you in 10 seconds after they spent 150 hours building up their character to melt the boss in 10 seconds where you're playing it for 5 minutes, how is that a cheese build? Yeah, but you're setting your own parameters, though, right? You can solo 70 Nightmare Dungeons and beat Lilith not stacking stagger damage. Great. Add that to your resume. both the same. Both the same. Did you beat Uber Lilith? Yes. Did you beat Uber Lilith? Yes. How fast did you beat Uber Lilith? 10 seconds. How fast did you do it? 5 minutes. Great. You're both in the same club. You both beat the game. That's the issue I have with D4. It costs too much, and so much of the pain and respect your character. Right, and I talked about this way before it even came out, before we even played it, before we got the beta, open beta, closed beta, all that stuff. When he said that you can't, it'll cost too much to level up your character to do it again, I was like, that's a stupid move. I think they'll change it down the road. I personally think they should add change, because if I want to be a PvP build, or if I want to do an Uber build where I'm melting elites, or if I want to build where I'm melting bosses, you know what I mean? Like, different play styles for different things. So if I have my druid and all of a sudden I want to play with water, and water's good with crowd control, I'm like, oh, I'll help with the boss. I build a boss build, and then we're really good. That would make sense. But in their state, it's like, you are what you are, and I'm not going to spend $10 million just so I could, play for 45 minutes with one person because they're built one way and I'm built the other. I think it's a bad system that they implemented in the game. My gripe is it meant to be the hardest fight. You can poop on it with no effort. Hold on a second. I'm not even going to read the rest of your statement for a second. No effort. The person getting to that point at level 100 has put in hundreds of hours to get to that point. Hundreds of hours. siphoning through gear. To say they have no effort, come on. I get what you're saying if you could do it fair game. But that's your own, again, your own parameters. You're making what you think is fair. But what's the statement within the content of the game? Everyone's doing the exact same thing. They're leveling up to get to the end boss to beat the boss. Doesn't matter how you beat the boss, or once you beat the boss, you can't go to nightmare dungeons afterwards. The whole point is to do the nightmare dungeons, to level up, to get the glyphs high enough so you can do the damage to get to the boss and beat the boss. The boss is the end. Once you beat the boss, it's done. You can figure out at this point, they left in the game, fair game. They left it there. I'm just not one to seek out exploits to abuse them to a false sense of insecurity. That I'm good. I just don't think it's an exploit still. I disagree with you as far as an exploit. I think if it's in the game and they're using that, then it's fair game. It also comes down to luck at that point, though, right? Because you have to find the gear by putting your time into your game to get the build, to do the exploit, to do the stagger damage or whatever. You only have 10 character slots. What happens if you fill those? What am I supposed to do? Throw away the 200-hour character because I need to respect? Is it only 10 characters? Or is it 10? I think it goes up. I think it goes up after that. I'm not sure though, Sarge. I think it just shows 10. I don't know if it's just 10. It takes hundreds of hours. Yeah. That's what I'm saying, Water. To say there's no effort. The people that you see one-shotting basically has no life this game. But no effort. No effort. If my build gets me to the point of one-shotting, I don't know if that's no effort. That's what I'm saying, Stubby. That's what I'm saying. Someone that put on hundreds of hours to get the gear, to sift through the gear, to build their character, to get to the end boss and one-shot it. I don't look at that and go, well, they're cheating. And making everyone else agree with your parameters is what's that called, kids? If you could beat the hardest fight in a game, shouldn't you be able to poop on a lot of other... It all depends on what you're going for your build, though, boss. Like, if someone says, I'm doing a... let's pick a different game for a second, right? Let's pick a Dark Souls game where they're like, I'm going to play a game where I'm only doing knives, okay? And knives just happen to be the most overpowered weapon in the game. They have no armor on. They're just running around with knives. And someone builds a build up for the knives and goes through the whole game. And then someone says, I'm going to use just axes. Like, both of those things are things that you could do in the game. One's not an exploit over the other. One has knives that has no armor on, and the other person has full-out armor with a mace. And they both beat the game, but one does it faster than the other. Is the one that did it faster an exploit? No, it's the parameters of the game. It shouldn't matter if one person beats it in 150 hours and kills the last boss in 15 seconds, and someone does 150 hours and beats it in 5 minutes. You both beat the game. I didn't breeze by it, by no means. It was a full Ultra Instinct and still barely beat it. Yeah, but what I'm saying is, I guess what I'm trying to say is your parameters in your game, what you think is the way it should be. You shouldn't be able to go to the boss and just destroy it in 2 seconds. But they're doing exactly what the game is letting them do. There's a build in the game that lets you do that. You have to put a lot of hours in and get the gear that you need to do to get to that point. It's not just like it lands in your lap. They got to 100 and then they just one-tap the thing. When Luke shot the laser into the heat vent of the first Death Star, that was no effort in that. Well, not true, right? He had to grow up. He had to go to and learn how to fly a plane or fly the X-wing, the you know. But yeah, it was no effort. That was no effort. I fought it the way it was and intended. Why would Blizzard put mechanics on the fight that intend to be a one-shot and skip every single mechanic? Because they put the stuff in the game and didn't test their game out, and then when the game is in there, people will do the math, and they do the math better than other people that do math. They realize they can do a shit ton more damage than what you realize you could do. Hence why they do it in 15 seconds, and you have to do it for 5 minutes. And I totally get that you're taking a personal stance of this is how it should be done. Totally get that. It's just some people are better than math. If it wasn't for YouTube, we wouldn't know about this stuff. Someone would have just sat in their house, did the math on graph paper, okay? They would have done the whole thing. They would have mapped out their map too, because that's what we did in the old days, right? You would actually like map out your map, and then you would do all the stuff. All right, this is the first dungeon over here, right? They would actually go there and just do it, and you wouldn't know about it. And then one day at school, be like, yeah, I beat the game yesterday. And they're like, yeah, I did too. I killed him in 2 seconds. No, you didn't, bro. What do you mean? Well, I just had this build on there, and then I added this, and then my stagger damage was up, and I killed him in 15 seconds. You're like, what the fuck, dude? I was playing for like 45 minutes. That one shot, I must have did it 1,000 times, right? Is that person exploiting? No, they're just smarter in math. That's it. They're just smarter in math. Reminds me of a Bungie putting out a broken weapon that one-shots bosses, and then people were pissed that they're being used. Yeah, like it's some sort of like, hey, did you do the raid last night? I did. So we're applying for a job today. 2 people apply. Did you? Oh, you guys both play Destiny? Yeah. What you got? Oh, you beat the raid with the one-shot weapon, huh? Charlie here shot it with his pistol. How long did you play, Charlie? 13 hours straight to beat the raid. Well, 13 hours straight. We're going to have to give it Charlie over here because Charlie, he did it as God intended. God intended to him to play there for 13 hours. Sorry, you got the game, the gun that one taps. You shouldn't have used it. Like, what are we talking about? They're both in the game. They're both eligible things to use in the game. Because mathing didn't math correctly over others who watched and surpassed the mathing of matters. Here, I'm gonna take it full circle, right? If one day my son one taps Uber Lilith in a game, I'm gonna take credit for that because I taught him everything he knew about video games. That's how you do it, folks. That's how you do it. Bullshit. They would hire the guy who killed the boss faster. No, because he's a risk taker, Tiny. They don't want people like that. They want people that fall in line. Harvard, here we come. That's right. That's right. You guys, I'm gonna put a bumper sticker. My son killed Uber Lilith. Bumper sticker. Asterisk. Exploit. When it constantly having to revive them in nightmare dungeons, I'm going to use my most toxic, smug tone. You beat Uber Lilith? And they'll be like, yeah, 5 seconds. Because at that point, why are they running nightmare dungeons? If they already beat the boss, why are you running nightmare dungeons? Because you just still want to play your character and see how powerful you can get him. And then go back and fight the boss again. I don't have patience for games where your builds are like this, but I did end up accidentally one-shotting every enemy in Cyberpunk with Johnny's gun in almost half. I mean, you could put that on a bumper sticker, Chapter 8. You could put that on a bumper sticker and a resume. You can put that you both used Johnny's gun and destroy people in Cyberpunk with one shot. I think that would get boring after 10 hours. just what's it called? Just shooting with the gun. Like once you find the best gun, this is why I say with cheat codes. I used to play SimCity, right? This was always in my head, right? SimCity, I would try to build a city and I would always fail. I would always fail, always fail, always fail. I was like, what am I doing wrong? I need more money. So then I found the cheat code in Nintendo Power for whatever it was, and when I did the cheat code, then I had all the money in the world and I could build the biggest city I want, right? And then I was just like, well, I'm kind of bored of the game, and then I put the game down because I was like, there's no effort anymore. There's no kind of pride of trying to complete the game. There's no wrong or right way to play the game. It's just that your way of playing the game, you've diminished what the game is now because you put the cheat code in. Just put another 13,090 hours in. It'll be better, right? Yeah. You would use the cheat codes. I use them for the money glitch. But then I figured out a way in SimCity that if you build a certain block and you put like the police station, the fire station, the hospital, and you put a park in the middle, and then you would make a block, and then you put all residential with a park in the middle, and then you would do all commercial with a park in the middle. It would expand over time, and it actually worked. Cheater! What is this, like Game of Thrones? Where you get the bell, and I'm walking naked down the street? I know. Cheating. Still cheating. I don't cheat anymore. Shame. Shame. You didn't learn how to win. You just cheated. There's no reason to play the game. Exactly. My point is, in Diablo, if someone's doing an exploit, they're not cheating. They had to put 100 hours in, 120 hours, 150 hours, 170, 200 hours, then write a bad review, and then beat Uber Lilith. That's what they have to do. I don't think of a cheating in any sim game. Well, now sim games have a sandbox mode, Chapter 8. So it's completely different, right? They never had sandbox modes when I was a kid. So putting a cheat code in was like a sandbox mode. Now they actually put sandbox modes in so you could experiment and play and do all the stuff. Because when you were younger, you had to play through the game to get the high end, the thing that goes to space or whatever, or the big building or the college or the university, and you couldn't do any of that. So you had to put the cheat code in. Otherwise, you had to put in, tens of 20, 30 hours in to get to that point and enough money. Whereas a kid, you're just like, I just want to build stuff. So nowadays, now they have sandbox modes that you can go into. But I guess that's cheating. Once a cheater, always a cheater, I believe is the saying. Correct. It also goes with once an asshole, always an asshole. Once a douchebag, always a douchebag. Once a dumbass, always a dumbass. Same premise, boss. Same premise. Yeah, but the point of the experiment and play, this is why people want Sims games. So you weren't cheating. You were cheating in the game you wanted. Exactly. But it was still a cheat. You still had to put a cheat code in. So when the game got hard, you put a cheat code in. Nope. It didn't get hard. I wanted to get to the other pieces that I couldn't get to. and plus, boss, I had to put it on a resume. So when I got my first job, I was like, I played SimCity, and I used the cheat code. And I also, in Contra, I used the up, down, down, left, right, BA, select, start. I also, yeah, I pushed my brother's Luigi character off the map. Yeah, I did it, and I still got the job. It was a close one. Still went to college. Still got a degree. Still got a career. It's amazing. Still amazing. I'm excited for I'm excited for City Skylines. City Skyline 2, which is on Game Pass. You're a pro cheat codes, so of course there's no such thing as exploits. Oh man, like an exploit that's built into the game, which is not an exploit. It's just doing math. That's it. It's literally just doing math, boss. It's okay that people are better at math than you. That's it. They got the lucky drop. They did the math, and they do more damage than your guy does. That's it. I know it's hard to believe. I know you're not the best person in the whole world, and there's someone that's made a better build than you and can murder something in 3 seconds. I'm not that person, but there is a person out there. Yeah, the new Power Wash simulator is SpongeBob SquarePants, I think it is. I think it's like $6. And then they're doing Warhammer as well. Yeah. No, I'm not excited. I go back every once in a while and play the games. Smart little business move. It's a smart business move by the Power Wash Simulator guys to put other IPs out there to bring them in the game, right? Interesting. They would make buku bucks if they did like a Marvel's Avenger Tower, right? Like the Marvel's Avenger Tower, like you clean like Tony Stark's like jet or the Iron Man suit or his tower. That'd be interesting if they did something like that. Just seems to be weird that Blizzard would put the effort in making a mega hard fight that's supposed to be mega hard, but they also put the gear in the game and the drop chances to get that gear, and then to someone to take that gear with their luck chance to add it to another piece of gear to get the math up to a certain point to do the massive damage. And these magicians bypass all that with a few hits, but they're not bypassing it. They're literally putting hundreds of hours into the game to get to that point. It's not like they're booting up at level 1, get the gear, go to the boss, fight the boss, and then it's over. Like, I don't understand your argument right now. I would do that, Big Bobby. Clean the Transformers and stuff. I'd do that. Jason, clean Hulk's toilet. Oof. Does Hulk go to the toilet when he's in Hulk form? He would break the toilet, wouldn't he? He would need a really strong toilet to hold his ass up. What toilet's going to hold that much weight? I think Hulk just shits in the ground and then lets someone else dig it. To be fair, most people who got that same piece of gear didn't do the math, put in the effort. They threw it away, paired him with the wrong thing. Exactly. Did you ever play? No, I've never played that. It's going to be free to play on all platforms. Never played it. It all matters, Sarge. It all matters. Hulk smash his toilet. Yeah. He doesn't have toilets. He just shits in his hand like a gorilla and then chucks it across the world. We got one more story. Got one more story today. Got the first details. First details of Helldivers 2 co-op and combat gameplay. I'm interested in this now that we're playing Starship Troopers. Starship Troopers is a fun game. Now, this is coming to PC and PlayStation 5. Greetings, future Helldivers. It's Catherine, Arrowhead's social media community manager, and back again, bringing you the Helldivers 2 gameplay details. A more in-depth look of the cooperative gameplay and combat. So gear up. After the Helldivers defrosts on your ship, you and your squad mates must prepare a mission by customizing your armor, your weapons, and your stratagems together. Create your loadouts feel like a part of the mission prep, changing the weapons in the suit and your only appetite for destruction, but the mission and the enemy types you'll be encountering. Your greatest aids of the Helldivers and powerful tools can be summoned with short button combinations, everything from airstrikes, hell pods containing bigger, badder weapons and defense gear, extra supplies, and are at your fingertips. Okay, graphics look pretty good. Not that I care. When selecting, how do you say that? Stratagems? It'd be essential to coordinate with your team and select the best possible loadouts for the enemies and mission types. If you're going to against the armored enemies, like the Terminding Charger, your squad mate can equip armor-piercing weapons like the AT-48 recoilless rifle or ACA autocannon, which features a teammate-assisted reload to keep battles even more chaotic. But don't sleep on those defense this is good stratagems. Either while other Helldivers are having the heavy fire, another Helldiver can call down a shell generator protecting teammates as enemies push back. In a 4-person team, you'll be able to select a mix of stratagems and weapons that will lead to unique victory every time. Do you know what I'm feeling about this? It's gonna sound bad. It's gonna sound bad. Can anyone think what I'm thinking of right now when I'm reading this? The way they're describing this game. What game am I thinking of? Anyone? And no, it's not Game Pass. No, it's not Game Pass. What game sounds like this? I think it's three people, Water. No, not Outriders. Not Outriders. I'm getting a vibe. I hope I'm wrong. I'll keep reading and see if anyone says it. Ready for action. Once the Hellpod lands on a planet, you can start calling on support stratagems, which include more powerful weapons, shield generators, and supply backpacks. Each member of your squad can also play according to their own style. Some of those will charge into a fight. Others will call down a sniper rifle, maintain a safe distance while picking up enemies, and you can even sneak past encounters with your team moves carefully. You're all free to decide how you want to manage democracy up close or personal, or a tactical oversight. Big bugs. That's a big-ass bug. Of course, once the action really picks up, it gets used to dying. Not only is the enemy hordes relentless, but it might run into some stray bullets from fellow Helldivers. Either way, your team's first priority is to use the reinforce stratagems to call your brand for new Helldivers down on the planet to pick up right where you left off. You can even grab guns your previous corpse left behind. So it's sort of like interesting. So is it a roguelike? Like I die and then I come back, or am I just a different character? There's not only a cooperative combat, but you're also being cooperative objectives to tackle with your team as well. You'll be able to share locations with each other and move together across the map. You'll also encounter optional objectives to complete, requiring a small detour with your teammates, of course, requiring your ammunition, but you'll be rewarded for your efforts. Okay? And that's it for now. Soldiers, get ready to give them hell. Helldivers launches on PlayStation 5 this year and also PC. Oh, it's 4. It is 4. 4-man team. A lot of the pictures showed 3-man teams. Looks like a 4-man team. It reminds me of Anthem. Yeah, Dave. It does. It reminds me of Anthem. Just the way they were making it sound. Now, obviously, we haven't seen any actual gameplay. I'm not saying it's going to be Anthem. Just the way it was being... Like, I just picture the Anthem when they first showed the opening scene. You're going around, you have those rockets shooting out, and they're landing, and the thing fell down. Like, while I was reading it and picturing what they're saying, I was just like, this sounds like Anthem. I'm not sure what it is. Where can I find a GXG podcast other than YouTube? My Pop Beans stopped adding new ones on May 4th. I haven't added anymore. Bad Juju. I'm behind on them. I had a problem with, for some reason, because I don't capture them locally. So once we're done with the show, I download them off of YouTube and then convert them in, and then I put them on to our streaming service to go to Podbeam and Google Play and Spotify and all those. And for some reason, it's giving me an error code. So I'm like 4 episodes back. I think you ended up on 351? I think it was 351. And then what happened was Sarge's first computer broke. So we went 4 weeks without an actual episode. Then we came back for 2 weeks, and then his computer broke again. So, yeah, it's on Spotify. And you can watch all this year's episodes video-wise. The ones before are just audio. Yeah, the new PC broke. Yeah. His clip that was holding on the fan with the liquid cool snapped off, and then the chip overheated and then completely went bye-bye. So he had to send that computer back, and they sent him out a new one. Or they're sending him out a new one. Big T says, other Helldivers. So there's PvP. It's PvP, PvE, PvP. I'm not a big fan of that. I don't think it's PvE, PvP. I think the way they're describing it is each... where is that? Includes more powerful defense. Once the Helldivers is handling the high fire, Helldivers can call down a shield generator to protect the teammates as enemies push back. In a 4-person team, you'll be able to select a mix of weapons, and they'll also lead to unique victories over time. Hellpod, once land, include more powerful weapons. Each member of the squad, you're also free to decide where you want to go and manage up close and personal oversight. Either way, your teammates' first priority is to use reinforced Helldivers down to the planet. Call your brand new Helldiver. Okay, so it says, not only are there enemy hordes relentlessly, but you might run into some stray bullets from your fellow Helldivers. Either way, it's your team's first priority to use reinforcement. Oh, it is. It is a reinforced stratagems to call your brand new Helldiver down to the planet to pick up right where you left off. You can also even grab... So wait a minute. Am I reading that correctly? Stray bullets, not enemy hordes relentless, but you also might run into some stray bullets from your fellow Helldivers. So saying that your Helldivers, I guess team kill is on, right? So you can kill each other by accident. Either way, your teammate's first priority is to use reinforced stratagem to call your brand new Helldiver down. So once you're dead, the Helldiver comes back down, like a new Helldiver hits the planet. I don't think it's PvP, right? It says you're going to die, but your first priority is to reinforce this, right? So you keep on playing, and the person comes down and then lands on the planet. Yeah. You can even grab the guns your previous corpse left behind. So that's interesting. You know, it's really funny. When the game like Destiny, Fortnite came out, do really well financially. The other studios raced to copy the format of the game, but it now takes 5 years or more. Yeah. Yeah, Arc Raiders is an extraction game, though. They literally changed the whole platform of it, of Arc Raiders. Arc Raiders wasn't supposed to be an extraction game, and then they turned it into an extraction game. $350. Okay. Yeah, they're. I will update them at some point. YouTube, they're all there on YouTube, and if you have YouTube, premium, you can listen to audio versions of them. Like you can just have it in the background without having your phone on. But I'll try to get those up, Bad Juju. There was friendly fire in the first game, so there you go. I never played the first game, Robert. Destiny 2 is still popular today. It is, but I don't want to say it's not the full force that it was, boss. Destiny 2, Destiny 1 had a really good following. And then when the Destiny 2 came out, everyone moved over to Destiny 2 and played. There's still people that play Destiny 2, but a lot of the majority of the player base that played Destiny 2 left. And then came back, new people came in and played. So there's still a huge player base that plays it, just different player base. Let me tell you your story now. Me and my wife almost died yesterday. What? What happened? Went to get my kids from camp, and I'm waiting there 15 minutes, and one still hadn't come out. I go to see his monitor, and she tells me he left, but it wasn't me. He left with someone else all week. What? Oh my God, Stealth. Who was he leaving with? I need to know. How old is your son? Oh my God. Oh my God. So we go inside and he had misunderstood and was waiting in the gym. Holy Christ. Oh my God. I would have, oh my God. I would have lost my shit, Stealth. I know that feeling. There was one day, where the hell was I? My son, I took him somewhere and I forget where it was. I literally blacked out. I was so nervous. Oh, we went to a park. We went to a park, and they have this outpost station where you can buy like gift shop or whatever else, and the bike path comes by, and there's a playground. And I was just sitting on one side, and he would just run around the corner, right? And he kept running around the corner and coming around the building, running around the corner. He was like, I think he was like 3, 4 years old, and he ran around. There was no one there, right? There was no one there. I looked and stuff, but he ran around the corner, and then he vanished. And I was in this moment of, I was like, calling my son. I was like, hey, where are you? And I walked around to the right. And when I walked around the right, he was walking around the left. And when I went around the corner, he wasn't there. And I was like freaking out. And then he stopped and then started walking back. And I didn't continue I didn't continue walking around the building. I went back the other direction. And then he went back around. And then I was screaming. I was like, oh my God, my body like froze up. I felt like someone kicked me in the nuts. I was like, oh my God, I lost my son. Someone came, right? I was freaking out. And then he comes just wallowing around the corner. I was like, oh my God. And I gave him the biggest hug, and he didn't even go anywhere. He didn't even go anywhere. He was just playing around the building. But for a second, right? For a second, I was like, oh my God. There was another time we were at where were we? Disney World. And he just walked off for a second. Me and my wife were talking, and then he just walked off. And when I turned around, he wasn't there. And he was like 5 feet away from us, but we didn't know where he was. And just that moment of that, someone stole our kid, right? Like type of thing. It's crazy. I don't wish that on anybody. I would rather get kicked in the nuts. Send me the address. I'm on my way. No one knew he was there. That's crazy. They have an after-school camp, and they follow the monitors. And then when he sent his friends to the gym or daycare, he followed them, and she didn't realize it. Oh, my God. I was watching a video on YouTube last night about a guy doing that. Looked up school children online and went and then tried to collect them. Oh, my God. Yeah, and it's crazy, Stubby. Like, just that moment, I don't wish that on any parent, especially in a world that we live in today, right? I used to play out in the street by myself. No one watched me, right? Me and my brother would play out in the street in New York. We play wiffle ball, go to the neighbors' houses, go around the, like, unlock our doors. We live in a completely different world nowadays. You know what I did? I went home. I left the kids with my kid and went to the Best Buy and bought 4 Apple AirTags. And now all 3 of them, Stealth, you went from, you do what devs do in video games when they nerf stuff. They go from all the way from the left, and then they shove it all the way to the right. So now everyone in your house is tagged. Hey, man. I totally get it. I get angry, bench press, squat 500 pounds. I have to calm down. Won't do any good as a dad from prison. Exactly. Chapter 8 says, once I went to middle school basketball game, tiny town. No one locks their cars or houses. And I think halfway home, the kids started taking to me from back, or talking to me back the floorboard. No idea he was there. My car looked like my mom's. No idea it was my mom's. Let her 5-ish-year-old wander away into the fucking parking lot alone. Yeah. So that's the time I kidnap a child. There you go. It's crazy. If the amount of stress that if you lose your kid for a split second, for a moment, like you could like gray hair just forms instantaneously from stress. Stealth banhammered his whole family. He's like, I can't trust any of you from walking around. Here's an air tag. I 100% understand, Stealth. 100% understand. Your whole job, right? Your whole job as a parent is to make sure your kid survives adulthood. Once they get to that adulthood, right, you're still protecting them, but at the same time, right, they're on their own. You would hope by that time when they hit adulthood, they can make their own decisions and make good ones based on what we taught them. Hence, from the beginning of our conversation when Travis said what he said earlier today. that feeling of losing, oh my God. Just you telling me the story, my heart just sank. Because you give your kid to a school, and let's be honest, right? There's a lot of kids at camp and stuff, and they got to keep track of all those kids. And each of those kids has their own idea what to do or what they can do and go where they want. Worst part of it is that it happened yesterday, and today they're going on their first outing, taking a city bus to the metro. Oh my God. So this is what I did. We had a field trip last year, and I never sign up for anything, right? But when they said they were taking a trip somewhere, I was like, I'm being a chaperone because I don't trust anybody else. I'm watching everyone else's kid. Even when I take my son to the science center and he's in the jungle gym, I stay at the door. And if I see a kid running, I put my foot out or arm out because I don't want him to leave. They're not supposed to leave, right? Meanwhile, mom and dad, okay, they're all on the phone doing their shit. And I'm like, anyone watching your kid, man? Kid could have just ran out. You wouldn't have known where he was. We had so much freedom as kids. No cell phones. Nothing. The check-in, Robert, was when you get to your friend's house, give me a call. Okay? So I get to my friend's house, pick up the phone. Mom, I'm here. All right, cool. All right, talk to you later. Right? Don't talk to them again until you come pick me up or I'm on my way home. Okay. That's how it was. Here's a quarter. Call me. And if you didn't have a quarter, call collect. Just reading Stealth's message, my heart rate picked up. Yeah. Anyone who knows me knows that I would rather eat broken glass than take care of a kid. So the sheriff's deputy who graduated with was like, wow, how did you survive 10 minutes alone with a kid? Are you like, chapter 8, are you like, what's that? There's a movie I watch where the girl just like, don't touch me, like the kids have cooties. I'll be honest. I can't stand certain age groups of kids. Like if it's below 4, cool. Like 4 to 13, no thanks. 14 to like teenagers, I can get along with because you can kind of talk to them and whatnot. But yeah, 4 and under, I'm cool. They just have joy in their eyes. They don't know any better. You get every once in a while, you get one of those kids that just a complete and utter douchebag at the age of 4. I think we're more afraid of our parents beating us and actually getting kidnapped or something. That's true, Water. So they did exactly what they said. Yeah, that's exactly right. Different times. My parents used to kick us out of sunrise, told us to come back before. Yeah. Completely different times, Big T. Right? Just a look. They give you a look. My son loves when I scream. He likes seeing me angry. Oh, I know. The back talk already, Water. The back talk I get sometimes, and I just like, you want to see your 9th birthday? Yeah, my mom was a much younger sister who had a young kids, was in college, and they've been told about me. They're like, "Hey, I know you don't like kids, but can I talk to you?" So when are you gonna have kids? They have that conversation with you. There's a time we could roam free, and then suddenly we would go outside anymore. People were stealing kids. Yeah, you had to watch out for those white vans with no windows. Yeah, that where you were? White vans with no windows. Watch out. We used to have BB gun fights. BB gun fights. I got shot in the ass when I was a kid, and it hit it from my parents until I was bleeding on my mom's kitchen chair. Like, why are you bleeding on my chair? Then brought me over to the neighbor's house. Knocked on their door and said, "Your son shot my son." Right, and then yanked my pants down and showed the bleeding from my left ass cheek. And then the BB was still in there. I gotta go to the doctor and take it out. True story. Yeah. Yeah, boss. We could throw rocks at each other. We shoot BB guns at each other. We play at construction sites. Like, now your kid goes out, you're like, don't touch that. Don't do this. Don't do that. Now, my kid right now, he's inside. And then when we're done here, we play outside. I got a swing. We play baseball, soccer. We got new bikes. We're going to go bike riding. Did you have a Red Ryder BB gun? I did not. I did not. I remember my dad stating, "You think this is family is democracy? It's not. It's dictatorship. You're looking at the dictator." You know what, though? I think you respect your father, don't you, Tiny? I mean, I bullshit with my dad, but there's still that moment. My dad's like 75, 70. Yeah, he's 30 years older. 70, 75, right? And I still think my dad could kick my ass. There's that respect. There's that respect that you have for your parents. You know what I mean? And you should be, Robert. You know what I mean? Like my dad. I hate my dad, but my dad. I shouldn't have to. Like his forearms when he was younger, man, he looked like Popeye. He would just touch you, and you'd be like, ah. You would go completely limp. You're like, Dad, oh yeah. It's like, hey boy, what's going on? What's going on? You're like, oh my god, I have no feeling in my shoulder. Lucky man, 75. Well, I never had grandparents. My grandfathers both died when I was 6 months old, so I never had that grandfather figure. So when I met my wife, and then she had both her grandfathers, I connected with them a lot because I didn't have grandfathers. All I had to do was raise their voice. Yep. Oh, we used to shoot fireworks at people. Now on Twitter, people think they're crazy doing it. Own dirt bike, go kart, 4-wheeler times. At 10, would also we live on a farm, so my son's got an ATV and stuff like that. Yep, it's the best. We lived in a condo, chapter 8, when my kid was until he was 3. Oh, wait a minute, he's gonna be 9. Yeah, to almost he was 3, and then we had this opportunity where we could get land, and we went and live on a farm. So now my son, for the last 7 years, has been outside and we do stuff. You know what I mean? He experiences a lot more than he would if we were still living in a condo. Yeah, that's. Have you guys seen that Vegas Sphere? Look at this thing. It's crazy. It's like an alien ship. Hold on, I'm gonna mute it. What? I don't want to see this shit. Hold on. Let me find it. Look at this thing. this thing is crazy. This thing is absolutely insane. Like, what's the inside? Like, look at this thing. Like, what the hell? I'll let that play while we talk more. One of my idiot friends fired missiles, but knocked it down where it was spinning and shooting all around us. sounds like a really fun time. No, I didn't see that yet. Is that what it's called? Crime Lord? They're building something. They're building a moon in Dubai that's like way bigger than this. Look at this. Like a portal opens up. Look at that. Like, this has got to be a distract. This has got to be off the road, right? Like, there's a highway right there. My God, look at the main strip. They're just stopped there, paused, just watching it. People parked up on top of the garage over here watching it. Where is this located? On the backside? There's MGM. That's crazy. Yeah, it's the Traveler. Yeah. Destiny came to life. The Traveler is just sitting in the middle of Las Vegas. Look at this. That's crazy. It's on the back of the Venetian, it looks like. Yeah, it's right by the Venetian. It looks like it's behind the Venetian. It looks like it's off the main strip. Don't give Bungie any marketing ideas. I bet you they do. I bet you they do the marketing on that, Tiny. Oh no, it is on the strip, I think. Because there's Harrah's. Harrah's is across the street from the Venetian. Caesar's Palace is across. Where I gotta look up where this is. They can't afford maps. That's pretty cool. All right, Sarge wants us to look up this. Oh yeah, Sarge, this is the game. Yeah, I don't know if this is going to be good at all. Didn't this already come out? Yeah, this is that game with all the actors in it. Chuck Norris and stuff like that. Yeah, this game came out. Didn't they already come out? I'll wait till it comes to Game Pass. Yeah, it got bad reviews, didn't it? Kim Basinger? Game was trash. Yeah, that's what I thought. Big T says this was the bomb. Was it good? Was it fun?
Hardy deal. There are 3 separate ways to play, including a dedicated single-player campaign and 2 co-op focused modes. On top of that, Bon Jovi's second best song about cowboys is on the soundtrack, and Michael Madsen is here as leading man Travis Baker, and in a dapper hat, no less. Madsen isn't a prolific video game voice actor, but he has demonstrated an ability to pick quality winners in the past, certainly with the likes of Telltale's The Walking Dead, Dishonored, and a 2001 game you may have heard.
The maintenance on that, Paul, must be astronomical. Astronomical for that thing.
Of from the makers of Christmas Lemmings called Grand Theft Auto 3.
Oh, a
Unfortunately,
bomb,
his
the
winning
bomb.
streak is now broken.
Let's end it here today.
That would be Sheriff Goddamn f***ing Norris.
That's it. We end this.
Yeah.
Charge.
It's actually tricky to pinpoint precisely which pillar of Crime Boss is the weakest, although a shooter with combat as scrappy as it is here is always going to be on a hiding to nothing. Melee attacks are hopelessly unconvincing, and the shooting itself is annoyingly imprecise and ineffectual, with the slime balls of Rockay's City capable.
What do you think's worse? This or Deadfall? Oh, I'm sorry, Redfall.
Of absorbing punishment like their chests are made of Kevlar. The explanation here likely has something to do with the fact that the roguelike single-player rations out perks that negate aiming sway and increase the stopping power of your rounds as rewards for leveling up, but that doesn't really help. If anything, it makes it seem like it's just been arbitrarily made to feel like garbage until you can level up for the chance to make it less so.
Need something to bounce back from that horse.
The roguelike approach to the solo campaign, dubbed Baker's Battle, is an interesting slant, but it ultimately becomes exhausting. Completing Baker's Battle requires us to take over all territories in Rockay's City. Taking territories requires surviving a chaotic but largely vanilla turf war against a wave of opposition gang members.
See ya, bitch! She wouldn't wanna be ya!
Defending territories requires surviving a chaotic but largely vanilla turf war against a wave of opposition gang members.
Strap the in, bitch!
Funding all this requires stealing stuff from a modest assortment of warehouses, strip malls, and other secure spots that always look pretty much the same. What I mean is that pushing through the campaign is already an exercise in repetition. Making it a roguelike feels like putting a treadmill in a hamster wheel.
Boss, are you able to respond? Boss?
That's efficient.
Beyond that, the only real
Hamster
change
wheel
to the formula
inside
comes in the
the
form of
treadmill.
some incredibly left-field side missions, like a Vietnam War flashback or a baffling trip to a snap-frozen Russian airbase, none of which have been particularly enjoyable thanks to tiny maps and unsatisfying action. Black Ops did this better 13 years and 2 console generations ago.
Sniper!
The other ways to play Crime Boss are either via a quick play menu where you can drop into random jobs, or a series of so-called mini-campaigns called Urban Legends. Both of these can be played online with co-op partners or with bots. Both of these also seem like the missions I already played in Baker's Battle, only this time with friends who'd probably rather be playing Payday. Crime Boss unapologetically lifts most of its heist systems from its tried and true peer, even down to its automatic drills and saws with little computer
Sorry,
screens,
this comes
which
to Game Pass,
would have
we're playing
seemed
it.
less wildly out of place in this 90s setting had Michael Mann ever put one of them in heat. The upshot of this thievery is that Crime Boss's heists are easily the better part of proceedings, even if working with the lax AI often means bagging up the goods for them and tossing them a duffel rather than trusting them to do it themselves. It's like going on vacation with a toddler.
Get the fucking bags packed.
For the most part, the shonky stealth means things descend into identical firefights time after time. Occasionally, and mostly in the final moments of a successful heist, I would get glimpses of Crime Boss at its most competent. There is a certain satisfaction to be gleaned from having the crowd subdued and the loot secured, even if it is highly derivative of Payday's long-established formula. On one particular job, my crew and I had quietly and completely cleaned out a jeweler after some patient initial skulking about had rewarded me with a store full of dead CCTV cameras and trussed-up security guards.
Hands together, f***o.
However, just when things threatened to go south, our getaway vehicle had what can only be described as a seizure as soon as I tried to climb in.
Someone get into the front seat.
Oh, God.
This was an isolated bug, but others are much less so, including random freezes that last for several seconds and regular instances where the character models fail to load in at the start of a mission, leaving guns floating around and shooting you until their owners blink into existence. At any rate, I was still able to successfully escape the jewel heist with the take a few minutes later, but having the van flap around like a Fallout corpse and peel away as we were literally trying to enter it isn't exactly an elegant bow to tie on a mission.
Let's all get out happy.
Danny
In and
Glover.
out. Bring your dancing shoes.
Equally inelegant are the lion's share of voice performances from its otherwise highly recognisable cast, most of which feel like they were email attachments sent back to the
Vanilla
studio
Ice.
the same day the contracts came through.
Word to your mother.
I'll happily admit seeing Michael Rooker and Danny Trejo digitally de-aged and straight off the sets of Days of Thunder and Desperado respectively was a powerful novelty at first, but Crime Boss otherwise squanders its kitsch cast. Vanilla Ice is here as a rapping drug lord who is either beatboxing between his sentences or has someone else doing it for him, I can't tell.
Oh, yeah.
Danny Glover is here and doing his best, despite the fact they didn't exactly push the boat out when naming his character, which is gloves. The always terrific Danny Trejo is here, but I've only heard him speak once. He has a bigger presence on the box art than in the game itself. The worst celebrity by a country mile, however, is Chuck Norris, who appears quite regularly, either gloating over your dead body at the end of a run,
Well, player, why did I beat you?
or showcasing his incorrigible lack of trigger discipline by continually waggling his pistol at his partner.
This is one hot plate, LT.
I like Chuck Norris movies as much as the next guy who grew up lurking in video stores throughout the 80s and 90s, but the only thing missing in action here is his ability to speak naturally. I guess it makes sense for a game about stealing everything that isn't nailed down. Someone has pilfered half the punctuation from Chuck Norris's script.
What can we expect besides war and the obvious, elephants?
There is absolutely nothing about his delivery here that works. Indeed, he doesn't sound like he's
God.
even delivering it. He sounds like he's either been bowfingered in a restaurant or is dictating handwritten napkins to his phone to print out in a larger font later.
Money. How much is enough for one man?
What's particularly baffling, however, is somehow Norris still isn't the worst sounding actor in most of his scenes. That victory belongs to his partner, who appears to be a Sonny Crockett cosplayer voiced by a Fraggle.
No, they say he's going after the Italians now.
Old feuds. Let's see what gives.
Crime Boss Rockay City is an
Terrible.
overly ambitious airball on all fronts, from its sloppy moment-to-moment gameplay to its largely abysmal voice acting, the worst of which sound like single takes spliced in with mistakes intact.
We think he's pretty small time, Sheriff.
There's an earnestness with which Crime Boss has been put together that I do admire as a kind of direct-to-VHS knockoff of Payday on a promising 90s backdrop. And there is an inescapable novelty in seeing these de-aged Hollywood stars steering the story here. Unfortunately, the hokey charm on display is nowhere near enough to offset the repetitive and regularly frustrating mission design. Its roguelike single-player rapidly
great.
becomes a total chore, and its co-op juice just isn't worth the squeeze. Sadly, Crime Boss Rockay City's coked-up ego has been writing
4.
checks its budget-priced body couldn't cash. For more game verdicts, check out our reviews.
Wait a minute. They got a 4. What did Redfall have? Oh, IGN gave it a 4. All right, so it's like right there. It's like right there. They're both really bad. 4. Man. If when that comes to Game Pass, I'll play it. I ain't doing anything else with that game. I'm definitely not buying it. Well, I'm sure it would be great. It'd be entertaining just to mock it. We're definitely not buying it. What is Crime Lord? What's the Let's see. What is it? What is the price of it right now? When did it come out? Oh, it came out in March 28th. Yeah, it's been out for a while. It's got to be on sale, right? $40 right now on Epic Game Store. GameStop. Get a used copy. Oh, did the trailer drop? All right, we'll look at that in a second. That'll be the last thing we do today. Where? There's no match for this. GameStop doesn't even have it. All right, let's look at the trailer for Helldivers.
Helldivers 2 is a tactical third-person cooperative action shooter. Hi, I'm Johan Pilestedt. I'm the CEO and creative director of Arrowhead. One thing that will be really familiar in Helldivers 2 for returning players is the stratagem system.
Stratagem.
For those of you that are new, this is the ace up your sleeve. It's a system that allows you to interface with the many.
What's behind him? Like, I want to know that space game that's behind him. Is that the Helldivers? Because I want that.
Elements of the Super Earth arsenal, such as the Super Earth Destroyer, the Eagle Fighter.
Explosions look good. The explosions look good.
And the multitude of weapons and equipment that you can call down as you play the game. My favorite stratagem in Helldivers 2 is the Gatling Sentry. A killing machine unleash its devastating firepower into a swarm of enemies is truly a wondrous sight with this new third-person perspective.
The mission you're playing is a big part of choosing your strategies. My name is Michael Eriksson and I'm a game director at Arrowhead Game Studios. If you're facing off against a heavily armored foe, you want to bring specialized armor-penetrating weapons. But if you're
This looks like it'll be fun.
blowing up a bug hive, make sure to bring orbital barrages or other highly explosive stratagems.
The armor system that we've developed in the game is inspired by real firearms fired against armored targets. So this means that a shot at a shallow angle will get deflected and not penetrate the intended target.
When you choose your armor, make sure it fits your intended playstyle. If you want to play as a tank, pick a heavy armor with high resistance. I usually play with the light armor because of the increased mobility and decreased enemy detection range.
In Helldivers 2, death is cheap.
So I was right. Friendly fire is on, right? And you guys said it earlier. So you can kill your teammates and then you have to come back down.
You'll die to most of everything, even including.
He literally died not even 2 seconds coming out of the drop pod. Look at this.
You'll die to most of everything, even including your own friend's misplaced orbital bombardment.
Every time a Helldiver is reinforced, that's a new citizen, finally fulfilling the Super Earth dream that they've fantasized about from early childhood. This is just a small piece of what we have planned for Helldivers 2.
And we can't wait to hear about your experiences once this game launches later this year. Spread managed democracy.
I don't know if I'm gonna get it. We might get it. Akuta Papa. I mean, I'm interested in it. When they first showed it at the event, I was like, it looks pretty good. It looks interesting. Yeah, basically the entire time. You land, I'm going to shoot you. And then I'm going to wait for you to land, and I'm going to shoot you again. And be like, what happened? I don't know what happened. You keep getting in the way. That's going to be horrendous. Horrendous. You're going to die more from friendly fire than you are from anything else. Yeah, I'll play and just grief my friends. That's going to be... If you play with randos, that's going to be terrible. It's going to be the dumbest feature in the game. I can tell you right now. The dumbest feature, because they're just going to... This is what's going to happen. Are you ready? 3 buddies are going to play, and they don't want the 4th person to play with them, right? Because they're trying to get their 4th guy in or whatever. So those 3 are just going to keep murdering the 4th guy. That 4th guy doesn't want to leave, and he's going to get upset, and then he's going, no, I'm staying. It's going to be like Sea of Thieves all over again. It's going to be like Sea of Thieves all over again. Be like, hey, I'm in the game. Can you just leave? No, I'm going to stay. And they put him in jail. They vote him in jail, and he just stays there for like 80 minutes. Like, dude, no one wants you in our group. We're just trying to get our 4th guy in. They're like, no, we're just going to kill you over and over. That's going to be the dumbest feature in the game. It's going to make for a hell of entertaining streams to watch. But it's going to be an absolute cluster for the people playing the actual game. Yeah, these enemies are so strong. Does it tell you who kills you? If it doesn't, then you'll be fine. It looks good. The explosions and stuff look good. I get the feeling of when we read about it, like I said, Anthem. But now that I'm looking at it, it definitely feels like a Destiny mixed with like Outriders vibe type of thing. But we'll see. Looks good. Tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, Generation X Gaming, a weekly podcast that goes over a few of the top stories from the past week, and we rant along the way. Appreciate you guys coming out this morning. Please make sure you hit that like button down below. Please make sure you hit the subscribe button if you're not subscribed. And if you'd like to go above and beyond that, you become a member as little as $5. We do appreciate you. We are on vacation on the 18th to the 25th. So leading up to that, we are doing a podcast tonight. We're doing a podcast next week as well. Shows all next week. And then the week after, I think we leave on a Tuesday. So we might do a Monday night show. And then I'm off until the following Tuesday. So, or actually Wednesday is when I come back. So the 26th is when it'll be our first when we come back and play or go live. So appreciate it very much. You guys have a great rest of your day. If I don't see you tonight for our podcast, Generation X Gaming, you guys have a great weekend. I think we have a podcast tomorrow with Lono. If not, I'll see you on the next one. Peace.